when you sit down at a table for the first time, dice in hand, writing utensil nearby, and character sheet laid out before you, there's something pretty important that needs to be sorted out, and that's who is your character? Like, who are they? Where have they come from? And where would they like to go? Those things are vital for any compelling character that's going to allow you to really invest yourself in a campaign. So let's talk about backstory writing. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Geek Pantheon. I am Eric, and today we are talking about character creation in the flavor sense. Obviously, there's lots of mechanics that we go over here on the channel of character creation, but today we're going to talk about how to make your character more than just numbers on a piece of paper through creating a compelling backstory. And the way that I go about creating my character's backstories, my process for that creation, to where it can hopefully help you out. So first off, let's talk about the starting point, step one, and that is identifying who your character is at the start of the campaign. It's obviously an easy temptation to go, okay, let's start back at childhood or birth even and work our way forward, and then we'll figure out who the character is once we get up to the point where their campaign starts. And for me, I like to do that backwards. I like to look at the moment the campaign is going to be starting. After session 0, once the DM has established, like, okay, this is the campaign, this is where we're starting, this is what we're doing. Once I have that information, then I think, okay, who is my character? And when I talk about that, I want to be very clear. You're defining who your character is at the beginning of the campaign, not for the duration of the campaign, but in the moment when session 1 starts, that snapshot, who is your character? And identifying the hook of your character. How do they view the world? Why do they adventure? What does their life look like if they don't have to adventure? What could fulfill them to where they don't need to adventure any longer? Having an idea of those things gives you that core motivation, that central tenet of who your character is, so that you can start expanding out into creating a full fleshed out character that is ready to start adventure. And a pretty good guideline for this phase of the process is, I like to think about it, getting to know your character like you would the first time you're meeting them at a social gathering or a first date or something like that. Very surface level, very kind of broad knowledge, but not too deep. Favorite animal, family, siblings, preferred source of entertainment. Do you like plays? Do you like music? Do you like spoken word? Just that kind of stuff. Stuff that's not going to overly define your character before you get a chance to play them and kind of figure out who they are, but gives you a lot of really good resources to pull from when it's time to role play, when it's time to actually be a living, breathing entity in the world. Where if you've thought about who your favorite animal is or what your favorite animal is, then when you encounter that animal, you can instantly be like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a positive relationship here. That is exactly what happened with Ari, my character in Kyber Shards, our actual play show here on the channel, where I had defined before the campaign started that Ari's favorite animal were cats. He's a cat person. He likes cats. And did not inform Philip, our GM, of this. And sure enough, he has us walk into a restaurant called the Ship's Cat that just has cats everywhere. And so in that moment, I knew, okay, Ari obviously has a favorite cat here that he has named, that runs up to him as soon as he walks in and sits with him while he eats. So if I hadn't thought Ari's favorite animal is cats, I don't know if I would have been able to immediately jump into that situation and be like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what would happen in this scenario. So having those superficial questions answered can go a long way to making you more comfortable when it comes time to roleplay, because you know what your character's favorite color is. You know when it's time to go buy clothing for the next job that they're going to prefer to buy a yellow shirt over a green shirt because it's their favorite color, at least for clothing. So stuff like that can really go a long way and help you role play your character effectively. And before we move on, if you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumb up, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. It does help out a whole lot, and we are on the path to 1,000 subscribers. When we hit that, I'm going to be buying one of you a D&D 5th edition book of your choosing, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Go down below, subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified anytime a new video pops up. Also, if you want to talk to me about these topics, if you want to tell me about your character's backstory in real time, back and forth, I do stream on Twitch every Sunday and Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central and Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. twitch.tv/thegeekpantheon, link down below. I'd love to see you over there. And now once you have that snapshot completed of who your character is when the campaign begins, then you can start working your way backwards. Then you can start asking the questions of why. Why is my character like this? Why is this their core motivation? Why don't they have any family? To answer that question. And that can be a really effective way of creating a character and making decisions in your backstory that are informed by who your character is now, as opposed to starting at the beginning of their life and making a backstory moving forward, where you ultimately kind of end up with a character that maybe you don't like or you didn't think you were going to end up there. Doing it this way can ensure that you're playing the kind of character that you want to play, and then you can create a compelling backstory as you make your way backwards. But you're not on your own in this. You don't have to just come up with everything whole cloth. There are tools to help you further flesh out these ideas and start coming up with specifics in terms of who your character is, where they came from, what their ambitions are, and starting off with the most obvious one in the player's handbook. In the backgrounds, there is a personality trait, an ideal, a bond, a flaw. All of those can be great writing prompts to think, okay, my character is this way. Why? Let me write out why they think this, why this is their personality trait, why this is their flaw, and inform that from their backstory, inform their background from what's come before. Can be a phenomenal way of creating a very believable character. Another phenomenal tool is a 2015 article published by the New York Times based on a study done by Arthur Aaron called The 36 Questions That Lead to Love. And the concept is, if you were to ask another person all of these 36 questions, it would be a fast lane towards a level of emotional intimacy because you're sharing all of these things. This can be a really effective tool for character creation by answering the questions for your character, looking at that list of questions and saying, okay, what's their answer? One of the first questions is, if you could pick any person alive or dead to have a dinner with, who would it be and why? And so obviously this would require a certain level of knowledge with your setting, or at least with your character's ideals and priorities. But answering that question within the fiction of the universe, or you don't even need to go into the fiction of the universe. If you want to use figures from our world, just as that shorthand for yourself to understand a person like this in the setting that we're playing would be somebody they would want to have dinner with. So those questions are a phenomenal way to develop that kind of intimacy with your character and a level of understanding without overly defining who they are and what they believe, and giving you nothing to discover at the table. You can always be open to altering any of this stuff at the table, or more likely, the circumstances that are presented to you and your character may not change your character, but it will recontextualize why they are the way that they are. Another example from Kyber Shards of Ari, I was kind of thinking he was going to be like the young rash one, the Iceman of the X-Men team. And he's the oldest person in the party. And so while his personality didn't overly change, the context in which he acts that way definitely changed by the fact that he is the oldest and therefore feels a certain level of responsibility. So yeah, it doesn't have to alter who your character is fundamentally, but the new contextualization can allow you to play the character with those things still being true in a different way. And then from the D&D community, there's some phenomenal role-playing questionnaires out there that you can do by yourself and just think through things and answer these questions for your character from their perspective, to once again further flesh out this kind of broad knowledge that you want for your character going into the campaign, and will help you create the backstory, look back as to why, or leave some of those questions unanswered for in the game. For example, Ari's favorite animal being cats. I haven't defined in his backstory why that is. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it. So a chance might come up where I can define like, oh, this is why. This is why his favorite animal is a cat. But I answered the question, so I have that set up. And I think that's the important thing when I say answer these questions and think about these things, is it just provides you more tools when you actually get your character on the table. My personal recommendation, if you're looking for something like this, like a role-playing questionnaire that will allow you to think through that kind of stuff with your character, Jenny D, who is a YouTuber, D&D YouTuber, I will link her channel down below. She has a playlist of point of view roleplay videos where she is cosplayed as a character and is role playing with your character. And so you can pause the video as she asks these questions and kind of write things down and figure it out. So yeah, they were super helpful for me when I was creating Ari, and I would highly recommend them. So what did you all think? Did you enjoy this video? Did you find it helpful? Let me know down below. If you did find it helpful, give the video a like. It does help out a whole lot. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know about your characters' backstories down in the comments below as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.